Autism is perhaps the most well known kind of neurodivergence. People who fall on the autism spectrum can have mild to severe autism. No matter where you are on the spectrum, there are certain signs and behaviors that are typical. Okay, so what are the typical behaviors associated with ASD? According to child development specialist Dr. Mike Rios, to start with, people may find it really hard to take part in normal conversations. Then there is the difficulty many have in processing normal social contexts. People with autism also often have a strong and persistent interest in a particular subject, and they may have a powerful desire to stick to a routine. And finally, they often show repetitive movements of some kind. Accepting neurodiversity is important. One reason is that neurodiversity allows for greater creativity. That is to say, neurodivergent people think differently from other people, and their ideas can benefit all of us. We know many of them. Albert Einstein, for example, showed autistic behavior. Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, and Steven Spielberg, all dyslexic. Greta Thunberg, the climate activist, she has Asperger's. And then there's Dr. Temple Grandin. Dr. Grandin is highly successful. She's a professor of animal science at Colorado State University, a writer and a designer. In fact, she's designed the facilities for almost half the cattle in the United States. But growing up, it was a challenge for her to even communicate with others because of her autism. Now, some people may think it must have been very difficult for her to succeed despite that limitation. Well, actually, I believe that Dr. Grandin succeeded not in spite of her differences or limitations, but because of them. Dr. Grandin's neurodivergent thinking is what gives her a unique approach to thinking and problem solving. Here's an example. There was once something strange that kept happening at a cattle facility. The cattle would be walking along calmly when suddenly one of them would become paralyzed with fear and stop moving. This always happened at exactly the same place. However, nobody was able to see anything different about that spot. It was then that they contacted Dr. Grandin to see if she could help. As soon as Dr. Grandin saw the facility, she identified the problem. There was a hole in the roof that lets light in exactly above the spot where the cattle stopped moving. Once the hole was covered, the cattle immediately calmed down. But why was it so obvious to Dr. Grandin when it wasn't visible to anyone else? It's because of how her brain works. The side of her brain that processes visual information is unusually large and well developed. When she looks at something, her mind creates an exact image of that and everything around it. Most people's brains can't handle all the visual information that is constantly entering it. So we miss a lot. But Dr. Grandin notices things that others miss. So, you see, when we embrace neurodiversity, when we accept different ways of thinking, it can allow us all to benefit from it.